Indiana. A 117-98 final. Pacers led by 30 at one point in this game, and really the offense mostly only comes from Giannis Antetokounmpo. 36 and 12. Two starters in the Milwaukee lineup didn't score a single point. Siakam leads the way with 25, followed by Turner's 19, and a 1-0 series lead for the Pacers. Chris Honorado and now John Gonzalez with us here on HQ. All right, John, game one goes in convincing fashion to the Pacers. They won this first round series between the two teams last year in 6 games, but there was no Giannis, and Dame missed 2 games. Pacers put it on them today. How'd they do it?
Yeah, the Pacers looked really good, right? I mean, it was a completely different tale between these two teams, right? You had the Pacers, who played as a unit. Miles Turner was good. Siakam was good. Nembhard and Nesmith and Halliburton started to score the ball late, and he was distributing. And then on the other side, the Bucks were an abject disaster, Chris. 3 things had to happen for the Bucks to win this game, and maybe to win this series. But let's just start with this game. Coming in, I thought, okay, they got to get back in transition. They were brutal there. Then I thought, all right, well, you got to make some threes. Brutal there. They shot 24%. Number 1 on my dance card was you got to help Giannis. Well, as you mentioned, 2 starters didn't score. None of the other starters beyond Giannis scored in double figures. Taurean Prince scoreless. Kyle Kuzma had a line for the ages, Chris. 21 minutes, no points, no rebounds, no assists, no steals, no blocks. Over 5 from the floor, over 2 from 3, over 2 from the line. I'm not a big plus-minus guy for single games. He was minus 24. He earned that one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's like a grade point average, 0.0 for Kyle Kuzma today. Damian Lillard, the news today is that, he is expected to come back either game 2 or 3. Game 2, of course, in Indiana, and then game 3 would be the first one in Milwaukee. That's Friday night. So there's even a little bit of time between now, John, and game 2. Does the result, or I guess maybe even just the way game 1 looked, does that rush Dame a little bit?
I mean, it might. They definitely could use him. He was drawing a Tyrese Halliburton at the end of the game where he was in street clothes and telling Tyrese Halliburton, you're going to see, okay, well, let's see, because he's missed the last 15 games. He had a blood clot. And when you have a blood clot and you're taken out of activity, you're not doing anything physically or athletically or running or any of that. He just recently started ramping up. So 15 games off, you're going to lose your win. Let's see what kind of conditioning he's in, what kind of minutes restriction he's under. And then also you're going to have some rust too, right, Chris? I mean, it's not like he was out there just shooting in a gym by himself, so he's got to knock all that off. All that said, obviously, they are desperate to get him back into the fold because that starting unit, absent Giannis, was an abject disaster tonight. None of them looked good. They had to go deep into their bench, and that bench isn't good either. And then even when Giannis and Dame were together this season, it's not like the Bucks were world beaters offensively or as a team. They're the 5 seed for a reason. So, yes, they need him back sooner rather than later, but I still have my doubts and my suspicions about what this Bucks team can do in the series.
Yeah, it's a nice Louis sweater he's got, but the Bucks jersey would look a lot better on him. You already mentioned the little dust, not even a dust up, just a little trading of words, honestly, between Lillard and Halliburton. But as soon as Dame hits the floor, this will get played back time and time again. This was going to a timeout with about a minute and a half left to go in the game when Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton started to jaw a little bit. And you said it, Dame, they're pointing maybe like, hey, we'll find out. We'll find out when I'm back on the floor. Add a little more juice here for you, John?
Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty dull game. The Pacers absolutely dominated the Bucks from start to finish. In the fourth quarter, the Bucks tightened it up a little bit, and then the Pacers ran away with it at the end. But yeah, I think that Dame is probably frustrated with his entire situation. Missing the last 15 games of the regular season isn't ideal. Missing game 1 in a series that could very well end up spelling the Bucks being bounced out of the first round for the 3rd straight year. That's not ideal either. And so Tyrese Halliburton, he's known to sometimes get under other people's skin. I like to say it's certainly good entertainment, but ultimately it's going to come down to, when does Dame come back? What's he look like? And can he help the Bucks get back into the series?
All right, a 3rd straight first-round loss. Doc Rivers wasn't part of all of that, obviously. But if they do get bounced here by Indiana, John, is that it for Doc, do you think? And I mean, look, you know how we do this long-term and big picture look. It could be frustrating enough for Giannis to say, guys, I need something else around me or I need out.
This is what a lot of people, we've been talking about it on the Beyond the Arc podcast, but it's something that's been discussed around the NBA all season long. At what point does Giannis look around and go, this isn't for me? Because you're right, Doc wasn't part of the first two first-round exits. We'll see what happens in this series and whether or not it's a third straight. And they didn't have Giannis last year. All of that said, you're only a few years removed from being NBA champions. You ended up deciding to move on from Jrue Holiday and pairing Dame Lillard with Giannis, and they wanted stars and deciding to go with a two-headed monster. Okay, I understand why you did that if you're John Horst, but if you're Giannis Antetokounmpo, you're in your prime. This is a guy who's going to finish third in the MVP voting. This is a guy who's going to make first-team All-NBA again, and he clearly does not have enough help around him. We'll see whether or not, it's only one game, right? We'll see whether or not they can get past the Pacers. If they can, okay, great. Guess what? Now all of a sudden you've got the Bucks, who are the second-best team in the NBA all season long and the first-best team in the Eastern Conference. If you can't, if you get bounced again, yeah, if you're Giannis, you're going to look around and go, I'm in my prime. Maybe it's time. It's been nice. It's been fun in Milwaukee, but maybe it's time for me to move on because I need to go and win now. I can't be waiting around for them to figure out what to do.
John, the Bucks won 3 of the 4 regular season matchups between these two teams. I know everybody says, hey, when it's the playoffs, it's very different, but 19-point difference today. Is that an aberration? Do we see this a little bit closer, or is Indiana just a bad matchup for Milwaukee?
Well, the regular season, yeah, it's a little bit tricky and a little bit misleading. Yes, the Bucks won that season series 3-1, but earlier in the year, the Pacers were scuffling along, trying to figure out who they were. Tyrese Halliburton had been super inconsistent. That defense wasn't as good. Over the last month, 2 months, the Pacers really figured out how to play defense, and Tyrese Halliburton, who he was inconsistent. Remember, don't forget, he didn't even play really in the Olympics, and he got the gold medal, and he was making fun of himself for not playing and getting an A+ on the homework assignment that he didn't participate in. And that kind of bled into the regular season. But again, in the second half of the season, he figured it out. Siakam was excellent. Miles Turner was excellent. And then all of a sudden that defense really coalesced. So yeah, the Pacers right now are playing good basketball, and the Bucks are just hoping against hope that Dame comes back.
Pacers had a huge second quarter advantage here, 34-18. And then, like I said, it ballooned to 30 early on in the second half here. I guess Milwaukee needing a fast start in game 2, John, to build a little bit of confidence here, or do the Pacers, do they just have this spurt ability maybe to bury you quickly?
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Bucks, you absolutely have to start off quicker than you did today. You're going to need the rest of your starters to Brook Lopez is a very good basketball player and had a good season. He didn't exactly acquit himself well today either. He was also in single digits, but you have to get something, anything from Taurean Prince and Kyle Kuzma. And if you can't, why are they in the starting lineup? I mean, when they decided to move on from Chris Middleton, it made sense for the Bucks because Chris Middleton has been often injured. He's not the same guy that was part of the championship team where he was the third best player along with Giannis and Jrue Holiday and helped them bring a championship to Milwaukee. They had to move on. Okay, you decide to just put a lottery ticket on Kyle Kuzma. Well, that hasn't paid off at all. He has not been good for the Milwaukee Bucks. But if he's not going to give you anything, it's one thing to not be good. You have to give them something. No, even if he was average or slightly below average, that would be something. He gave them next to nothing today and was actively bad and actively hurt them. Same with Taurean Prince. So if those two guys can't give you anything, shouldn't be in the starting lineup. You've got to juggle that around. And that goes back to Doc. Doc's got to figure something out here. It's not just enough to say, oh, we're going to get Dame Lillard back. That'll do it. It won't. You're going to need more than that.
Gary Trent Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., A.J. Green, all in double figures off the bench if Doc is looking for a possible replacement in the starting lineup for Game 2. John Gonzalez with us here on AD.
Tất cả các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn cách tô màu sao cho đẹp nhất nhé. Và bây giờ mình sẽ tô màu những sản phẩm